No one could write your destiny, but you did. Chosen one, those who mess with you have forgotten. Nothing escapes you. The secret meetings, the dark plans, the puppets behind the scenes, all of them have been deciphered one by your heightened awareness. And now, the camera is turned on, and they trembled for the first time. The structure they called the Masters of Darkness began to unravel in your light. Confessions have come in front of everyone. This is no longer a theory. The truth has been shown. Write 555 in the comments now, because you are no ordinary person. You are the light that changes destiny. Everyone who watches this video will awaken to the deepest point of truth. Nothing will ever be the same again. If you are ready, the darkness is unraveling. Picture a lone mountain climber scaling a sheer cliff before sunrise. Each stone tossed in their path becomes another foothold to lift them closer to the summit. That's what it's been like for you, beloved. Not a single slander, not one crafty snare, ever managed to snuff out your radiance. Even on the days when whispers felt like storms swirling around your head, the flame inside you never flickered out. Every attempted sabotage was really God's way of adding another rung to your ladder. Every malicious rumor repurposed as mortar for your launching platform. With every accusation hurled your way, heaven stacked another brick under your feet, raising you above the reach of their schemes. And now, as the ones who once said you'd never rise look on in disbelief, they see their own walls of opposition reduced to rubble at your feet, while you just keep stepping up, undaunted, unstoppable, shining brighter and climbing higher, untouched by the chill of their shadows. Your journey has turned adversity into elevation, like a seed pressing through concrete to reach the sun. Where others would have shriveled, you took root and thrived, drawing nourishment from challenges meant to bury you. Each plot hatched in secret only gave you new wisdom. Every harsh word forced you to anchor deeper into your purpose. People wondered how you kept growing when the soil looked so unfriendly. Little did they know, you were watered by a source they could never taint. Even in seasons where doubt tried to choke out your vision, the wind of spirit pushed you forward, keeping your heart open and your eyes lifted toward the promise. In simple everyday moments, when someone tried to trip you at work or rumors buzzed at the family table, you kept your composure, knowing that your destiny isn't up for debate. God has made you resilient, your identity rooted in sacred soil. What they built as barriers now look like stepping stones in the rearview mirror of your testimony. You've become proof that nothing planned against a child of light can prosper. Not when grace is the hand guiding each of your steps. It's not just about outlasting opposition. It's about being transformed in the fire and coming out with a song that can't be silenced. The harder they pressed, the more unbreakable you became. Where others lost hope, you found your anthem. Where others saw endings, you found new beginnings. Your ascent isn't just for your sake. It's a signpost for every soul watching, a declaration that faith outlasts fear and purpose outshines every shadow. Like a torch on a dark trail, your victory illuminates the way for those coming behind you, assuring them that every trial is just training for triumph. Picture an ancient thermostat bolted to the wall of a creaking mansion. Year after year, caretakers sneak in during the night, twist the dial just low enough that anyone inside wakes up shivering, too numb to protest, too groggy to realize the setting was never their choice. Beloved, that thermostat was the narrative they tried to set for you. They scribbled labels across it. Too intense, too complicated, too loud, too far-fetched, and then blamed the chill on your own breathing. They didn't steal your warmth outright. They rationed it, convinced you to thank them for a flicker of heat they never controlled in the first place. For a season, you wrapped yourself in borrowed blankets of approval, thinking their lukewarm acceptance was the best forecast you could hope for. But grace turned the light on in that hallway, and you saw the fingerprints around the dial. Your spirit marched right up, brushed off the dust, and cranked that setting to life-giving levels no caretaker can reach again. If you feel the abundance of divine love in your heart, now is the time to share it. You can help spread God's blessings by clicking the super thank you button on YouTube and contributing $20 or more. This divine gift will touch not only your life, but the souls of many through this platform. Each of you has a sacred place in God's grand design, and your generosity will be the fruit of our prayers. Act now. Share your blessings to glorify His kingdom. For you were created to do even greater things in God's loving hands. May God bless you. Once the furnace of identity roared back to capacity, you recognized every half-truth they'd spoon-fed you like medicine that never healed. They called your passion excess, your curiosity noise, your discernment paranoia, because small talk was the only language they could manage, and your vocabulary of destiny unsettled their comfort zones. They served sampler platters of conditional praise, tiny bites just big enough to keep you seated at their table, never full enough to let you stand and explore the feast God always intended. They called it humility when they were really just hosting an auction for your self-esteem, bidding it down to clearance prices so they could wear your brilliance like a bargain accessory. If you feel God's presence, you can tap the join button below to become part of the first chosen ones and receive the most important revelations early. Look what happened next. Conversations shifted like train tracks at a switch yard. The same voices that once demanded you dial down began stammering, uncertain. They'd grown accustomed to measuring you with their pocket-sized ruler, and when you pulled out heaven's yardstick, they panicked. They tried new tactics, silent treatment, sarcasm disguised as just kidding, invitations that arrived so late you could never attend. But by then, you had upgraded your calendar to divine appointments, and empty seats at lukewarm tables no longer interested you. You realized that no is a full sentence, and distance can be a ministry when the gap is filled with intercession instead of bitterness. Meanwhile, your inner reservoir was refilling faster than they could siphon. Streams of creativity they once called daydreaming became strategies that birthed new enterprises. That urge to question leadership blossomed into executive insight. Your two bright ideas became the lighthouse guiding teams out of the fog, and the same emotional sensitivity they mocked now serves as an early warning radar, detecting storms before they wreck families, friendships, and boardrooms. Make no mistake, this isn't revenge, it's realignment. God didn't preserve you through the furnace just so you could gloat over scorched earth. He raised you up to irrigate dry ground, to convert scorched valleys into orchards heavy with fruit. Your testimony has graduated from survival story to operating manual. You're not drafting comeback memos, you're issuing building permits for the kingdom. Policies bow where your feet tread, because integrity flows from you like a broadcast tower. Family feuds fizzle when your sentence of mercy lands in the room. Visionless gatherings find compass points when your fire-tested wisdom takes the mic. Some will still mutter that you're to this or to that. Let them. An eagle's wingspan will always look excessive to a sparrow. Your assignment was never to squeeze into their birdcage of limited expectations. You're cleared for higher altitude, governed by thermals of purpose that carry you far beyond the range of casual opinion. Remember, turbulence is proof you've outclimbed the quarry. Now hear the promise, the ledger is flipping. Where their gossip subtracted, God is adding. Where sabotage divided, favor multiplies. Places that once banned your influence will request your consultation. Rooms that echoed with whispers now await your instructions. You will steward reforms in offices, restore rhythms in households, and reboot initiatives in sanctuaries. All because your credibility was refined in the fire they lit but couldn't control. Picture a battered cedar fence in a Texas pasture, posts leaning after too many storms, wire sagging like tired shoulders. One fresh sunrise, a rancher, boots dusty, heart steady, drives in a brand new corner post, sinks it deep, and strings up wire so tight you can pluck a hymn on it. That sturdy anchor changes the whole line. Every wobbling plank straightens against its strength. Beloved, that's you right now. They tried to rope off the field of abundance with crooked boards of guilt, but God just hammered you into place as the unshakable stake that pulls the whole boundary true. Let's talk plain. For years, certain folks fed you a diet of lack served on fancy religious china. They'd quote half a verse, smile like Sunday school portraits, and claim the Lord loved humble poverty more than honest prosperity. Every time your spirit dreamed bigger than broken, they'd lace their counsel with pity, saying, "Now be careful. Riches will ruin a good heart." Meanwhile, they'd pass the plate a second time, drive home in cars that smelled like new leather, and count on you staying too broke to buy back your schedule. See, it was never about dollars, it was always about dominion. If they could convince you that wanting enough was selfish, they could keep you grateful for crumbs while they dined on loaf and fish. But heaven didn't knit your destiny in scraps. The one who paves streets with gold didn't plan for you to tiptoe through life, apologizing for having paid bills ahead of time. Think of it, Eden overflowed before sin showed up. Manna fell daily in that wilderness buffet. A widow's oil kept pouring till every borrowed jug was sloshing full. The same God who arranged those accounts is still on the throne, and he hasn't switched to scarcity budgeting. Dear brothers and sisters, may God's peace be upon you today. I am here to remind you of a profound truth. Our existence is grounded in God's divine plan, unshaken by the temporal concerns of the world. As the Bible says, whatever is done in faith will return to God in abundant blessing. Luke 6:38. Like that great oak tree, our roots are deeply rooted in God's universal truth. Every step we take, every stand we take, is secured by His strength. And now, you are being offered the opportunity to be part of that blessing. When you use the Super Thank You button and donate $100, this movement will return to you 100-fold in abundance. Now, when folks saw divine favor warming up around you, they scrambled to shut the vent. They stitched shame into the very idea of surplus, told you a righteous soul must stay content with shortages. What a clever snare! Preach smallness loud enough and long enough, and free people will shrink themselves to fit the pew. They weren't worried you'd become some heartless tycoon. They quaked at the thought of you settling that overdue mortgage, sliding keys across a desk and saying, "I resign." Financial wholeness terrifies manipulative spirits because it unplugs their control switch. A worker who's debt-chained fears rocking the boat. A lender-free believer walks the deck like a captain. Hear me, money is a microphone. Whoever holds it decides which song gets airplay. That's why the enemy crafts symphonies of shortage. If he can mute generous voices, he cranks up scarcity's soundtrack until neighborhoods learn despair by heart. But when God hands a steward a kingdom-tuned mic, mercy hits the airwaves. Kids get scholarships, pantries fill up, and communities learn a new rhythm of hope. Maybe you've felt that slow burn lately, a holy dissatisfaction with just enough. That isn't greed, that's growth. Seed sprouting in tight soil splits rock to find room. Likewise, vision crowds out limitation when destiny starts stretching its arms. The same critics who called your prayers materialistic happily accept pay raises. They only condemn harvest when it grows in someone else's field. Don't drink their diluted doctrine. The word says, God delights in the prosperity of his servant, not tolerates, delights. Abundance is proof of covenant, not proof of compromise. If you feel God's presence, you can tap the join button below to become part of the first chosen ones and receive the most important revelations early. Of course, money alone won't solve every wound, but it sure stitches up a pile of them quicker than worry can. Debt's constant drip can drown creativity. Freedom's wide shore lets inventions run barefoot. When you're not counting pennies at midnight, you start counting stars and hearing fresh instruction under their glow. Let's take inventory. Maybe your wallet's still thin as a communion wafer, yet you sense favor hunting you down like a bloodhound. Doors that once slammed now pause on their hinges. Discounts appear unasked. Side work finds you instead of the other way around. That's not coincidence. That's divine breadcrumb trail leading you out of Egypt's brick quota into Canaan's clusters of grapes. Don't apologize for it. Harvest is heaven's welcome home mat. Now some will mutter, prosperity preaching again. Hush that static. This isn't about gold-plated ego trips. It's about resource to carry out assignment. Noah needed lumber. Solomon needed cedars. Jesus borrowed boats. Vision unfunded turns into frustration. Vision financed writes history. You're not stacking bills to stunt on social media. You're stacking bricks for orphanages, launching scholarships, underwriting revival tents. Every dollar in a righteous hand is a deed of land reclaimed from darkness. Understand, generosity isn't subtraction, it's circulation. Blood pools in one spot and tissue dies. Currency clots in one vault and dreams wither. You're called to be a heart in the economic body, pumping provision where famine tried to set up shop. And you can't be a cheerful giver if you're a fearful lender. That's why God's freeing you first. So your offering won't be laced with anxiety's aftertaste. So how do you step fully into this liberated ledger? Start with mindset. Stop calling survival enough when God labeled you more than. Renew your vocabulary. Replace "I can't afford" with "I'm budgeting for." Speak seed language, not drought language. Next, honor what's already in your hand. 5 loaves become buffet lines when blessed and broken for purpose. Budget, tithe, invest. Yes, practical steps matter. Faith isn't superstition. It's strategy led by the Spirit. Then give guilt an eviction notice. If a thought scolds you for prospering, trace its passport. It didn't stamp heaven's customs. Divine conviction says, use this wealth wisely. Demonic condemnation sneers, you don't deserve it. Newsflash, none of us deserve salvation either, yet grace made a way. Similarly, God's favor is a gift, not a wage. Open it, steward it, and thank the giver. Expect resistance. When the first paycheck surpasses their prediction, tongues will wag. That's just scarcity panicking. Keep marching. When you write the check that retires a family member's medical debt, you'll outrun rumor. Impact speaks louder than innuendo. Remember, Joseph's brothers could spin wild tales, but famine drove them to his storehouse anyway. Provision shuts gossip with full granaries. See, financial freedom is merely phase 1. Emotional independence follows. You'll stop auditioning for acceptance when you can fund your own stage. Spiritual authority rises. Money doesn't buy it, but it buoys it, like ballast, keeping a sailboat upright in heavy wind. Community transformation blossoms. Banks call you client, but widows call you answer to prayer. That's wealth's highest purpose, to echo God's generosity into human experience. Maybe you're worried, what if I mishandle blessing? Friend, fear of failure is still fear. The prodigal wasted inheritance, yes, but his error didn't bankrupt the father. Kingdom economy runs on replenishing grace. Learn, adjust, keep going. Mistakes are tuition, not tombstones. Picture a pipeline. At first, it's clogged with rust. Old teachings, parental warnings, cultural distrust. The Spirit's been flushing it. Small trickles of favor prove the flow. Soon corrosion collapses and water pressure of destiny roars through. That surge may rattle the pipes, startle the neighbors, but it irrigates dry ground beyond your borders. Hold steady. The master plumber welded you for this PSI. Let me prophesy like a front porch preacher sipping sweet tea. Unexpected refunds are tracking your address, silent partners are considering your proposal, witty inventions are waking you at 3 a.m., and land deals are lining up like dominoes. Don't chase every glittering offer. Listen for peace's green light. Favor isn't frantic, it's focused. When breakthrough lands, resist small talk of luck. Call it by name. Promise performed. Testify. Your story becomes map coordinates for other pilgrims tired of wilderness budgeting. You'll stand on conference stages and kitchen linoleum both, declaring, "He did it for me, he'll do it for you." And what of those who tried to tether you to lack? Love them. Absence of resentment is the ultimate flex. Buy their lemonade at that corner fundraiser. Tip double at their cafe. Sow honor where dishonor once sprouted. Every generous act rewrites myths they preached. They predicted prosperity would poison you. Prove them wrong by serving them cups of cold water drawn from your overflowing well. In closing, not finale, but turning page, remember the cedar fence. Your life, straight as a plumb line now, is tugging whole communities into alignment. Where shame stapled scarcity to holiness, your witness now unpins it, letting saints breathe. Where fear choked dreams, your surplus oxygenates vision. And the one who started this good work? He's still hammering posts far down the horizon, stretching boundary lines in pleasant places you haven't walked yet. So lace up those boots, rancher of righteousness. The pasture of provision is wide, the grass tall, and the cattle on 1,000 hills are already lowing your name. Don't apologize for grazing where the shepherd leads. Graze, give, grow, then graze again. Because the real treasure isn't the gold in your pocket, it's the liberty in your stride when Pharaoh sees your back and can't find a chain long enough to pull you home. They turned prosperity into a forbidden fruit, teaching that it spoils the soul and that true virtue is found in constant lack. Yet the universe itself throws celebration after celebration. Look at the endless galaxies, the fullness of the earth, the miracles of renewal every spring. There is nothing holy about remaining small when the Creator is endless in generosity. Your breakthrough is not about coins, it's about seeing through the trick of deprivation and walking boldly into fullness. Scarcity, as it turns out, is just a painted curtain. Those who keep the feast hidden aren't doing so because you're unworthy. They do it to keep their own power. You were never too much or too demanding. You simply stopped pretending to be satisfied with less than what you were made for. The abundance written into the fabric of creation is proof that limitation is a myth maintained by those who want you at the back of the line. Now is the time to share God's blessings by clicking the super thank you button on YouTube. You can contribute to His plan and be a part of this divine mission with a donation of $100 or more. Every gift reflects God's generosity, and I believe it will return to you exponentially far beyond your expectations. Remember, His protection and blessing is on your every step and every donation. You become part of His divine plan. You are a strong, radiant being, unshakable as His mighty rock. Witness God's miracles, feel the fruits of your generosity in your soul, and illuminate the world with confidence and courage. Be blessed, and let the light of the Lord guide your path. Whenever your intuition kicked in, they slapped the label of paranoid or overreacting on you, dismissing the sirens only you could hear. Every red flag you spotted was met with accusations that your discernment was broken, your judgment flawed. But you trusted the signals within, each internal warning a torch lighting the way through their maze of confusion. Now, every confirmation that arrives in your life is a chorus from the heavens, telling you that your spiritual compass never needed their calibration. They banked on you believing there wasn't enough to go around, only scraps, only leftovers, only fleeting chances. But you chose the mindset of a gardener in a field with limitless seeds. You sowed faith, harvested more than you planted, and saw that life always makes room for those who expect the harvest. Every star in the sky, every fresh bloom, every new idea testifies against the lie of scarcity. You have become the proof that supply is never ending. The rules they wrote about success were always meant to make you play small. Keep your hands folded, your dreams reduced. Be humble, keep quiet. Don't draw attention, they said, recasting your fire as arrogance and your purpose as self-promotion. But you redrew the boundary lines. Now, success is measured in authenticity, in courage, in living out the full range of your gifts. You no longer ask for permission to shine. If you feel God's presence, you can tap the join button below to become part of the first chosen ones and receive the most important revelations early. Old patterns of attachment that masqueraded as love, chaos posing as connection, intensity mistaken for intimacy, were broken as you turned your back on dysfunction and embraced peace. The drama and volatility of before became the fertile ground where you planted new, healthier roots. Your soul now calls in relationships marked by real partnership, where mutual celebration replaces silent rivalry and jealousy. Boundaries that once felt selfish now stand as pillars of wisdom. The guilt they used to chain your generosity has no power in the new land you occupy. You care for your soul, not as an act of rebellion, but as an act of stewardship. You know that to tend to your own needs is to open a channel for more love, more creativity, and more service to others. Rivalries they engineered to keep you scrambling for scraps now fall away as you embrace the truth of collaboration. The success of one does not diminish another. Your win is a signal flare for the whole community to rise. The old energy of competition has been replaced with a celebration of collective achievement and shared breakthrough. No amount of storytelling can keep the truth buried forever. They revised history to paint you as the villain, themselves as the wounded. But reality, like water, always finds its level. People see now with new eyes. Testimonies surface, allies come forward. Every attempt to twist your legacy crumbles as the truth outpaces every rumor. Every step you take now is a beacon. Your growth, your victories, your transformation sends ripples through the atmosphere, inspiring others to question the limits imposed upon them. Your journey becomes a rallying cry for those still locked in doubt. Even the stars seem to shine brighter in agreement with your forward march. Your existence has become an eviction notice for every lie that tried to settle in your house. Every act of faith, every boundary enforced, every prayer spoken is a line drawn that forces darkness to pack up and leave. The season of confusion is over, and the light is on at the door. Let those who doubted you see the truth. The deceiver's lease is up, and the owner has returned.